Hello to everyone, my name is Gregor and welcome to our new video Surfing the Elliott Waves, where I will look at some of the most interesting developments for this week. This video has been brought to you by Orbex. I will look at dollar, Aussie, euro, gold, dollar versus Japanese yen, and also Bitcoin. But before we go to this, some of the Elliott Waves charts, I want to bring attention to this intermarket analysis, where at the bottom we have some of the dollar pairs, then in the middle we have the US yields, and here we have dollar index and the S&P 500. And interestingly enough, we can see that S&P 500, dollar, and the US yields so far are trying to move in the same direction. But I think that sooner or later one of them should fail, okay? Because normally these corrections will not uh, stay in play for a very long time. But what is interesting is that at the bottom we have very strong Aussie, which is here at the top. It's up from last week more than 2%. Okay, so it's a very strong Aussie despite higher US dollar index and higher US yields. So if you want to be shorting the US dollar, then I think that Aussie dollar is probably the best trade at the moment, especially because, as you know, RBI hike trades more than expected to 4.1%, but there was expectations on hold actually for 3.85%. So it looks like that inflation is still the main issue, especially after the numbers were missed last week in Australia. So that's why maybe RBI decided to be a little bit more aggressive, and that's what keeps Aussie in bullish phase. So when US dollar index will potentially move into the resistance, I think that the Aussie dollar will explode. On the opposite side, while the US dollar index is still in the recovery mode, which clearly you can see here away from start of June, well, then maybe you will not be willing to shorting the Aussie, but maybe watch out for potential more weakness on euro, since euro is much weaker. You can clearly see here on this chart below. So just long story short, if you want to short the US dollar, then buying Aussie is probably the best idea. If you want to be long US dollar, then shorting euro dollar pair could be the best idea, or maybe even pound versus the US dollar. So looking at dollar index, to give you the full perspective, what I'm looking on a higher degree time frame charts, or where we are in these current cycles, where I still think that the major top has been formed in 2022. That was the first impulse down, and now we are in a corrective phase. I've been talking and tracking this flat correction for a while, and it looks like this 5 waves up here is still in progress. We are missing some of more gains here to complete the whole structure around 105 to 106 area. So wave C of a flat should be made by 5 sub waves. And if you look closely here on this chart, you can see that that was very nice wave 1, wave 2, sharp extended wave 3, and normally you will see a pause for a wave 4. Maybe this one still can be a little bit deeper to 103 level, where, or 103.30, where I would be looking for some support. Or maybe this market will just keep chopping around, then this could be also even a triangle, meaning that then wave 4 will not be that deep but more sideways. In either case, I think that more upside will be seen after this current pause. Okay, so if I'm expecting now more gains on this US dollar index, then certainly Aussie is maybe going to see some pullback. But for potential longs, when you're looking for long on the US dollar, maybe euro dollar shorts could be much better chance here. So looking at the euro dollar, well, that's waves 1, wave 2, nice and extended wave 3. So watching for this wave 4 rally, I am willing to look for potential shorts from around 108 level. It's a perfect resistance of a former wave 4, or also some swing lows here from the previous uptrend. And more importantly, you had the 38.2%. Also, wave 4 will be equal to wave 1 pullback in that area as well. So I think that this could be quite attractive zone for potential new turn down. So whenever US dollar will potentially hit resistance, that's when, as I said, maybe Aussie dollar could see more of the upside. So here, what I'm looking at, very nice deep pullback. First, let me check the daily chart just to give you the full perspective. So here we stopped between 61 and 78.6% retracement, and now we have a very nice bounce away from that lows clearly in impulsive fashion. We broke this trend line. We made a pretty nice deep move so far. We even managed to recover back above the previous lows, meaning that this low is forming here. So I'm expecting more upside. But again, after the pullback here, could be opportunity on the long side. So for now, even if Aussie is strong, I think it's a little bit overextended. We have some resistance here. We also got some Chinese data recently, and even Aussie GDP, it came lower. So still, Aussie dollar could potentially find some resistance here to maybe make a pullback here before we move even higher. So maybe this pullback here on Aussie dollar will occur at the same time until the euro dollar completes that fifth wave to a new low, and maybe dollar index rallies towards 105. But then after this pullback, I think that dollar could see more weakness, and that's when I would be looking for significant Aussie strength. So for dollar shorts, clearly Aussie dollar is on my radar. Okay. Now let's take a look on gold. Gold is also still um, in this current downward move, but it can be flat correction. Okay, so that could be wave A, wave B, and now 5 waves down, or maybe this 5 waves down is part of a new bearish trend. Okay, so in either case, I think that this current weakness that we are tracking is incomplete. Also, if you look closely here, this recent rise has been made by 3 waves. So I think that was a wave 4. We stopped at the area of a former wave 4. So I think more weakness here could be in the card. So 1900, in my opinion, is a very big level here, the next downward projection for gold, where metal should stop if bulls are really going to fight back here. Okay, now let's take a look on dollar yen. Now, before we go to some of the wave count here on dollar yen, I want to again bring attention to this Nikkei. Keep in mind that we've been looking for more upside on Nikkei, and we also highlighted this few 2 months back or so, when we said that probably dollar yen could see higher degree correction if Nikkei is really going to break out, and we can see a very nice push out here of a triangle. But keep in mind that moves out of a triangle to a new high are usually final within the higher degree sequence. So there's a lot of demand and a lot of overcrowded actions here on the bullish side whenever we see this move of a choppy price action. But that's when we should be careful, because something is overcrowded, then we should be aware of the opposite. And more importantly, triangles occurs in a fourth waves within impulsive fashion. So if that was a fourth wave, then we know that we are in a fifth wave now. And 5 waves are usually final stages of a higher degree trend. So I would not be surprised if we see a reversal. Okay, and if that would be the case, then of course correlation with the dollar yen should take this currency pair lower. Okay, so watch out what will happen here around these resistance levels in the next few days. Maybe we'll have to wait a few weeks. So 140, 142 is clearly definite and clearly very important potential resistance area. Looking at the daily count here to present the wave count, we have a very nice impulsive turn here from that highs from above 150, and now we have the counter trend action here, still maybe not topping out, but definitely we should pay attention to this upper channel resistance line. I think that in the short term we could see maybe another pop to a new high and then finally turn to the downside. And the reason is here on the 4-hour time frame, where this drop so far, or this price action, is not really impulsive from the high. But before we can call a high, you definitely want to see 5 waves down. So I think that there is maybe another leg upcoming, and then watch out for impulsive fashion. So this kind of a price action will send dollar yen back to bearish mode. And now finally, let's take a look on some of price action here on Bitcoin. We're tracking two different ideas here, but I would pay attention to this one. It's a bullish wave structure after 5 waves up, and then this retracement. Notice where the price action has recently slowed down, around 25,000, that we recently paid a lot of attention with our members. So that was also very important swing high back from August and also in February, and now we are trying to stabilize here around that level. More importantly, we are seeing some nice response, very nice rally from that area after spiking to a new low. So I think that more upside here could be seen, potentially a major breakout here out of this downward channel could send prices much higher. Alternatively, well, this could maybe also could label someone as a leading diagonal, meaning there will be more weakness coming. But still, even if this current rise will be corrective, you still should see minimum three waves up, right? And so far, that's only one leg up here. So I think that more gains could be seen on Bitcoin, even if just a correction. I think that we could rally towards 28,000, 28,500 maybe in the next 2 weeks. Traders, thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Talk to you soon.